All right, today I want to share a short but, honestly, a really powerful story. It's all about failure, what it takes to keep going, and what winning actually looks like. It's the story of a boy named Tunde, and we're jumping in right at his lowest point.
So let's just start here, because this is rock bottom. This is that moment of complete and total isolation. The kind of quiet that feels way louder than any amount of noise. You gotta wonder, how did he even get to this point?
3. Just think about that number for a second. That's how many times Tunde failed his final exam. And this wasn't just any test, it was a big one. Each failure just packed on more and more weight, leading to this cascade of problems that went way beyond a bad grade.
And you can really see how this thing just snowballed, right? The first time, he could kind of brush it off. It happens, a personal thing. But the second time, that's when the whispers started. But that third failure, man, that's when the silence from his own friends became deafening.
So that silence, it wasn't just out there with his friends. It followed him right into his own room. Can you imagine? Just sitting there, surrounded by the very books that feel like your enemy. No one's calling, no one's texting, just this heavy, crushing quiet. The motivation is completely gone. All that's left is just feeling tired. But here's the thing about hitting rock bottom. Sometimes, in that total silence, a really important question can finally be heard. And this was it. This was the pivot. He asked himself, am I really gonna let this one moment, this failure, define my entire life? It's a question we all have to face sooner or later.
And you know what? That question hanging in the air, it changed everything. That very night something clicked. Tunde made a decision. It wasn't about passing the exam, not yet. It was much deeper than that. He decided to change his whole approach to the problem itself.
Now this is so important. His big comeback didn't start with adding something new. Nope, it started with what he stopped doing. He dropped the complaints. He stopped blaming everyone and everything else. And he stopped the pity party. He took ownership 100%. That was the first and honestly the most crucial step.
And look at what that change in mindset did to his actions. It's a total flip. Before, it was all about hiding his weakness, probably out of pride or shame. But after, he realized asking for help wasn't weakness at all. It was actually his smartest strategy. It was a sign of strength.
So once his head was in the right place, the real work began. And listen, there was no magic wand here. This was just good old-fashioned, head-down, hard work. It meant studying while his friends were chilling, watching movies. It meant grinding through those old exam questions over and over and over again. He turned that one decision into a daily discipline.
Okay, so fast forward a few months. After all that work, all those late nights, it was time. He sat down to write that exam for the 4th time. And yeah, the memory of those 3 failures was probably sitting right there with him. But this time, so was the weight of all the hard work he'd put in.
And this time, he passed. He actually did it. You think that's the end of the story, right? The happy ending we were all waiting for? But it's not. In fact, the most important part of this whole thing is what comes next.
This right here. This is the heart of the whole story. The passing grade was great for sure, but it wasn't the real prize. The real win was who he had to become to get there. The discipline, the resilience, the humility. That's the stuff he really earned.
So what this story is really doing is asking us to think about what victory actually means. It's not just about crossing the finish line. It's about the muscle you build, the strength you gain while you're running the race. Tunde's real victory wasn't a piece of paper. It was the character he built when he refused to give up.
And that's the big takeaway, isn't it? Failing is just an event. It stinks, it's hard, but it's temporary. Quitting, now that's a choice. Quitting is when you decide to make that temporary failure a permanent address. Tunde failed 3 times, but the key is he never ever quit. So I want to leave you with this question to think about for yourself. In whatever challenge you're facing right now, try to look past the result you're chasing. What kind of person are you becoming in the process? What strength are you building? What is the real victory you're creating for yourself right now?